Hello, mathematicians. Okay, here we are working on lesson 2, part 1. This one is about solving one-step inequalities by adding or subtracting. When they say one step, that means you only have to do one thing. So we are still going to use our steps of solving equations and inequalities, but notice that first we're going to simplify, then we turn the constant into 0.
Here's what I found.
And that's what we do with adding and subtracting. Adding and subtracting is about making the constant 0. Coefficients become 1 as we're solving, but we'll work on that in part 2. So really, the only step that we're working on today is this second step of making the constant 0. So let's go ahead and take a look at our inequalities. And I'm going to go ahead and write it. I have it as x plus 8 is greater than or equal to 18. Now remember, we want to make our constant 0. 8 is our constant. To make it a 0, I'm going to put minus 8. I want it to become 0. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. So now I have x is greater than or equal to 10. Now that I know x is greater than or equal to 10, I'm going to go ahead and circle the 10. And I'm going to color it in because it has the equal sign. Now, it says that x has to be larger than 10. So I'm going to check, is 11 greater than 10? Yes, it is. Is 12 greater than 10? Yes, it is. So that tells me I am going to shade my inequality to this side because all numbers 10 and larger are good solutions. Okay, let's take a look at number 2. Number 2 is x minus 1 is greater than 6. Now remember, I want my negative 1 to become a 0. My constant needs to be 0. So to make negative 1 a 0, I'm going to add 1. Becomes a 0. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. I'm going to add 1. So now I rewrite, I still have my x greater than 6 plus 1 is 7. So x is larger than 7. So I'm going to circle 7, and I'm going to leave it empty because it can't be 7. 7 is not my answer. Anything larger than 7. So can 8 be the answer? Yes, it can. Can 9 be greater than 7? Yep. Is 10 greater than 7? Yes. So now I know I can color it in this direction. Okay, let's go ahead and do another one. Okay, notice here I have a negative 7 plus x is greater than or equal to negative 8. Again, I want to make my constant 0. The coefficient is already 1. I want this constant to be a 0. Since this is a negative 7, I'm going to add 7. Since it's a 0, I now have x. And since I added 7, I have to add 7. So x is greater than or equal to negative 8 and a positive 7. Since the signs are different, I'm going to subtract, and I have a negative 1. Oh, why did I write 8? Okay, I have a negative 1. Now, since I have a negative 1, I'm going to circle negative 1. And this is a greater than or equal to. Since it is equal to, I'm going to shade it in. Now, x has to be larger than negative 1. So I'm going to look, is negative 2 larger than negative 1? No, it's not. So that is not the right direction. Let me check 0. Is 0 greater than negative 1? Yes, it is. Is 1 greater than or equal to negative 1? Yes, it is. So now I know to color it to the right. Okay. Let's do one more. I'm going to skip right down here. I have n minus 2 is less than or equal to 4. Okay, notice that my constant is a negative 2. So I am going to add 2 to make it a 0. Once I add 2 on one side, I have to add 2 on the other side. Now remember, I always rewrite. It's so much easier. N is less than or equal to 6. Okay, since n is less than or equal to 6, I'm going to circle my 6, and the equal sign tells me to color it in. Now, n is less than 6. So let's go ahead and check. If I pick a 7 and put that in there and say 7 is less than 6, does that make sense? No. Wrong direction. So I'm going to check 5. Is 5 less than 6? Yes, it is. Is 4 less than 6? Yes, it is. So now I know to color to the left. Okay, go ahead, finish this page on your own, and then you can jump into Delta Math.